Ever had that dream where you wake up and everything's just completely different? Now, like, amplify that by a million, throw in some ancient bloodlines, and a ruling class with a serious thirst, literally.
Okay, I'm with you.
Imagine finding yourself smack dab in a world run entirely by vampires. Not, you know, the brooding, sparkly kind, but a full-on aristocratic regime.
Right, like they see our world as what, a pantry?
Pretty much, a handy snack dispenser.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's unpack this totally bizarre arrival into a vampire society, because that's the head-spinning premise of On Wings of Blood.
Which a listener sent us, yeah.
Exactly.
And what's immediately striking, I think, is how the story just throws you and Maedra into this completely alien landscape.
Right into the deep end.
Totally. The summary paints this vivid picture of Sangretha, you know, steeped in vampire tradition, and then boom, Major Pendragon just appears.
No warning.
None.
Yeah.
It's classic fish out of water, but the water here has fangs and deadly politics.
And she doesn't exactly blend in, does she? Red hair, pointed ears.
Yeah, not the standard Sangrethan look.
Especially when those things hint at a connection to this, like, long-lost line of dragon riders.
Dragon riders, talk about raising the stakes immediately.
Seriously. 0 to potentially legendary in, like, 5 minutes. So our mission today, for you listening, is to dive into Maedra's first steps in this absolutely wild world.
Yeah, let's dissect those key moments, the big twists as she tries to figure out how to survive.
Survive in a place where she's both, like, a total weirdo and maybe the key to everything.
And you get the sense it's not just random, right? Her arrival feels orchestrated somehow. Like there's a bigger picture.
Definitely feels that way. Okay, so she barely arrives, and bam, captured!
By Prince Blake Dracaro, no less.
And he, with his vampire super senses, immediately clocks her dragony vibes, basically.
That unique resonance, yeah. You know she's different. Significant.
And his solution, it's just a casual blood ritual to bind her as his consort.
Forget how do you do it. Straight to magical enslavement.
Right. Meet, capture, and bind. It instantly sets up this huge power imbalance. She has no say.
Well, and this blood bond, it's fundamental, isn't it? It's that classic fantasy trope, the magic contract with massive strings attached.
Huge strings. The summary makes it clear she's valuable because of her lineage, but she's also totally his prisoner.
I said, and captive. That duality must create so much internal conflict for her right away.
Oh, yeah. Feeling trapped is like the understatement of the century. 1 minute, normal life, presumably.
Oh, right, we don't even know what that was.
Exactly. Next minute, you're magically tethered to a vampire prince. Is she a companion?
Yes.
A possession?
It's definitely not starting on equal footing.
Not even close. But then, okay, things escalate. She gets enrolled in Bloodwing Academy.
Bloodwing Academy. Doesn't exactly scream safe space, does it?
Huh. No. Sounds more like battle royale with vampires and maybe a few unlucky mortals tossed in.
Like Hogwarts meets the Hunger Games, maybe?
With way worse detention.
The academy setting just ramps everything up. It's not just about manners, it's literal survival every single day. Physical tests, magical tests.
And her potential as a dragon rider, that just paints a massive target on her back.
Makes her vulnerable. Valuable, yes, but incredibly vulnerable. Everyone's watching her.
And who's leading the welcoming committee? Regan Pincera.
Blake's first consort.
Oh yeah, forgot to mention, apparently one magically bound partner isn't enough drama for Blake.
So, instant rivalry, forced proximity, competing for Blake's attention, for status, survival.
Probably all of the above. You just know there's going to be claws out. Maybe literally.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right? The summary mentions allies.
Thankfully. Florence Shen and Professor Rodriguez, they seem like lifelines.
Professor Rodriguez especially, offering to teach her Thrallguard.
Thrallguard? Sounds intense. What is it exactly? Like mental shields?
Basically, yeah. Defense against vampire coercion, mind control, mental discipline. In that world, it's maybe the most important skill she could learn.
Yeah, seriously. Like learning to dodge bullets. And Florence's mom helps too. With info about her heritage.
Yeah, providing resources, clues. It's like Maedra's starting to get these little breadcrumbs, finding a path.
Even if she didn't know she was looking for one.
Exactly. And then there's Blake, still the elephant or maybe the vampire bat in the room.
Yeah, the dynamic is so messed up. Protector and captor.
Does he actually care? Or is he just protecting his investment? Maedra has to be constantly wondering that.
Who wouldn't be? So, okay, she gets some mental defense lessons, some clues. What does she do?
Gets the library, Even vampire academies have libraries, apparently.
Good to know. Some things are universal. Power of knowledge, right?
And it shows her agency. She's not just passively waiting, she's actively looking for answers about her past, and crucially, how to break that bond with Blake.
Diving into blood magic, necromancy. She's not messing around.
Nope, she's determined. Willing to go down some dark paths if it means freedom.
But naturally, just as she's getting somewhere.
Interruption time. Blake shows up. Or Regan.
Right. Constant reminders of the danger, like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while people keep smacking it out of your hand.
And it's not just mental challenges. Bloodwing means combat training. Real physical stuff.
So she's got to fight, too.
Seems like it. The summary mentions her agility, her determination. She's not just relying on books. She's fighting for her spot.
Good for her. Though, sparring with vampires must be motivating.
Keeps you on your toes, I imagine.
Yeah.
And then there's Vishavadya.
Ah, the obligatory academy rival. Because things weren't complicated enough.
Every high-stakes school needs one.
Yeah.
Right? Probably less note-sharing, more death glares.
Or actual attempts on her life knowing this place. Okay, so speaking of things inside her head.
Oh yeah, the voice.
Turns out it's not just stress. It's her dead mother, or Kate's.
A ghostly guide. Or maybe ghostly interference. That's a whole new layer.
Seriously, a helicopter mom from the afterlife. And apparently, mom helped get her to Sangrotha.
Which raises a million questions. Was it a rescue? Some grand plan.
And Madra's reaction is totally understandable, right? Like, Mom, thanks, but can I just have my brain to myself for 5 minutes?
Exactly. That desire for autonomy, for separation, becomes a big driver for her. It's not just fighting vampires, it's finding her own identity.
So this internal struggle leads her where?
Into secret passages under the Dragon Court. Guided by Blake, actually.
Oh, sneaking around with the guy she's magically stuck to. That's not awkward at all.
Well, it leads to a massive discovery. Ancient dragon lairs. A huge chamber filled with dragon skulls.
Whoa! Okay, so the whole potential dragon rider thing just got very real.
Very real. And it highlights the whole social divide, too, right? The High Bloods, the Blightborns, the dragons, or their memory are clearly a massive deal.
And Madra's connection could totally shake things up.
Big time. But back to practical matters. Thrallguard training gets more intense.
Professor Rodriguez sounds like the tough love mentor you need there.
Definitely. And then the consort games are announced.
The consort games? Seriously, what does that even involve? Deadly tea parties.
Apparently deadly tests of cooperation with your rival.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So Medra has to team up with Regan.
Looks like it. Talk about tension. It's a powder keg waiting to explode.
You know that's not going to end well. Just when you think things can't get messier, bam! Betrayal.
At the House Leaders ceremony, yeah. Corrigan, supposedly Blake's ally, attacks him.
Just proves you can't trust anyone in that court, huh?
Not for a second. It's all shifting alliances and hidden knives.
Yeah.
Blake wins, brutally, but it shows how shaky his position really is.
Okay, now, the summary hints at complicated feelings between Medra and Blake.
Forbidden desires, yeah. Even an encounter at a blood brothel, apparently.
Whoa. So it's not just hate and magical binding, there's like actual sparks.
It seems so. Very complex, very messy. Her dreams, these encounters.
Yeah.
They're forced to confront something simmering between them.
Even with the whole, him tricking her into the bond thing hanging over them, which we'll get to.
Right, and Blake's dealing with his own stuff too. Protective instincts versus his darker side, the pressure of being a high-blood prince.
So he's not just a cardboard villain. Got it. Okay, brief break. Frostfire Festival.
Yeah, the Dance of the Longest Night. Sounds like their version of the Yule Ball, but probably with more plotting.
Definitely more plotting. These events are always where the real drama happens, aren't they? Alliances made, enemies slighted.
And Major is right in the middle of it, under everyone's scrutiny. Another test.
Well, Blake's having his own internal crisis, apparently.
Seems like Major's presence forces him to look at himself, his power, his vulnerability. He's not immune to the pressure.
Interesting. Okay, meanwhile, Major is still dealing with Ghost Mom. Tries a ritual.
Tries to separate from Orcades, yeah.
Yeah.
It backfires. Big time.
How so?
Instead of freeing her mother's spirit, she binds it to a dagger.
So now her mom is a knife.
Essentially, yeah. Ghost mom / potentially useful magical dagger. Talk about baggage.
No kidding. But wait, there's another ritual mishap.
Oh yeah, this one's a doozy. She accidentally wakes up a dragon.
A dragon, like a real giant ancient dragon.
Nyxaris. A powerful black dragon.
Yeah.
Just wakes it up.
Holy crap, that's not just shaking things up, that's flipping the whole chessboard over.
Exactly. A seismic event. Nyxaris acknowledges her, but doesn't bond. Not yet, anyway. But its presence alone changes everything at Bloodwing. An ancient power is back.
And Medra's the one who woke it up. Talk about pressure.
Right, and just when she's reeling from that, Blake hits her with another truth bomb.
Oh no, what now?
He admits he deliberately tricked her into drinking his blood for the binding ritual. It wasn't accidental, it was planned. Irreversible.
Wow, that's low, even for him.
Complete violation of trust. Any tiny bit of trust that might have been forming, gone.
She must be furious, betrayed, manipulated.
Absolutely. Even if he claims he had to do it, the deception is huge.
Okay, so then come the actual deadly concert games.
And they are deadly. Medra gets drugged, left for dead basically, has to fight Regan and her cronies.
How does she even survive that?
Blake's blood apparently gives her an edge, a boost. But it's brutal. High blood politics laid bare.
Wait, someone doesn't make it.
Her friend, Naveen, dies during the games. It's tragic. Really rams home the danger.
God, what a nightmare. So after that horror show, where does she stand?
Reeling, probably. Blake confesses more secrets about his sister, Aania, the bond making her feelings even more tangled.
Like a ball of yarn attacked by angry cats.
Pretty much. And then Cage Tanaka shows up, offers friendship, but also warnings.
So, more potential allies, more potential enemies. Who can she even trust?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Everyone has an angle in this world.
And while all this personal drama is happening, the newly awakened dragon.
Nyxaris lets out a roar, heard all over Bloodwing.
Like a statement, things are changing.
Definitely. A harbinger, causes fear, uncertainty. The vampires know something big is shifting.
And Medra, accidentally or not, is right at the heart of it.
Absolutely. So the school year ends, Medra's survived, somehow. Changed.
The triad with Regan is kaput, thankfully.
Small mercies. But the tension with Blake, still sky high, unresolved.
But now she has a focus, right? Uncover her heritage, figure out her role.
Exactly. She's gone from confused newcomer to this central figure, tangled up with vampires, secrets, and dragons. It's been one hell of a ride.
All right, so wrapping this up for our listener, key takeaways. Medra's journey is insane. From zero knowledge to being caught in this web of power, ancient magic, deadly rivalries.
And the awakening of a dragon. It's constant danger, shifting alliances, and Medra trying desperately to find her footing, and maybe, just maybe, some answers.
Which leaves us with that big question, doesn't it? What does Nyxaris waking up actually mean for Sangratha?
Yeah, will Medra break the bond? Find out who she really is, or is she just stuck in their games forever?
And what could a dragon rider actually do in that world? So much potential power.
Lots to think about there.
Definitely. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Read it or skip it.
Until next time, read it or skip it.